The battlecruiser looked like something had tried to tear it apart. Huge holes covered its dark metal sides. One engine hung loose, barely connected to the main body. Smoke drifted from broken sections that should never see open space. The ship moved slowly through the black void, shaking with each meter it traveled forward. Commander Zixtar stood on his bridge and hated every moment of this. His claws dug into the arm of his command chair. The Vrexians were warriors. They were proud. They did not run to others for help, especially not to humans. But his ship was dying. The nearest Vrexian repair station was 3 weeks away. His engineers told him the ship would break apart in 5 days. Maybe less. The human space station grew larger on his viewing screen. New Anchorage Station, they called it. It looked strange to Vrexian eyes. The station was not built for war. It had dozens of repair docks spreading out like metal arms. Ships of many different species floated around it, waiting their turn or having work done. Lights blinked everywhere. It looked busy and loud and chaotic. "Open communication channel," Zixtar ordered. His voice sounded rough. Asking for help felt like swallowing broken glass. A human face appeared on the screen. Female. Dark hair pulled back. Brown eyes that looked tired but alert. She wore a simple work uniform with grease stains on one sleeve. "This is New Anchorage Station. I'm Dock Supervisor Maria Chen. How can we help you?" Zixtar drew himself up taller. "I am Commander Zixtar of the Vrexian Warfleet. My vessel has sustained damage. We require repairs." He tried to sound like he was doing them a favor by being here. Maria studied his ship on her own screens. Her fingers moved over controls they could not see. "I'm seeing significant hull breaches, engine damage, and what looks like a completely failed power distribution network." "When did this happen?" 3 days ago. Border conflict. Zixtar did not want to give details. It was embarrassing enough that a simple patrol mission had gone so wrong. "Any casualties?" Maria asked. The question surprised him. Most repair stations asked about cargo first. 17 injured. None killed. Good. That's good. Maria looked at someone off-screen and spoke in rapid human language. Then she looked back at Zixtar. "We can take you in Dock 7. I'm sending approach coordinates now. We'll do a full assessment and give you a repair timeline in 6 hours. How long will repairs take?" Zixtar demanded. Maria raised one eyebrow. "I just said we'll tell you in 6 hours after we assess the damage properly. But looking at your ship, I'd estimate 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Zixtar's spines rattled with anger. "That is unacceptable. We need to return to our fleet. Commander, your ship is held together by hope and some very stressed metal right now." Maria's voice stayed calm. "You want it done fast or you want it done right? Because fast repairs mean you'll be back here in a month when everything breaks again. Maybe in more pieces," Zixtar wanted to argue. But he knew she was correct. He had seen the damage reports. His own engineers had said the same thing, just more politely. 2 weeks, he agreed, the words bitter in his mouth. "Good choice. Follow the approach path carefully. Your starboard stabilizer looks wobbly." Maria smiled slightly. "Welcome to New Anchorage, Commander. We'll take good care of your ship." The communication ended. Zixtar sat back in his chair and watched as his helmsman carefully guided their broken vessel toward the station. Around them, other ships moved with purpose. Human repair shuttles zipped between vessels like small insects. Everything looked disorganized to Vrexian eyes, but somehow it all worked. The docking process took an hour. Magnetic clamps locked onto their hull with solid thuds that vibrated through the deck. Connection tunnels extended to their airlocks. Zixtar heard the hiss of pressure equalizing. Then human voices came over the communication system, speaking in cheerful tones that seemed wrong for such serious work. "Dock 7 secure. Beginning external assessment now. Atmosphere is stable in connection tunnels. Commander Zixtar, Supervisor Chen requests your presence in the main docking bay when you're ready." Zixtar gathered 3 of his officers and moved through the damaged corridors of his ship. They passed repair crews trying to patch holes and stabilize systems. Everyone looked exhausted. They had been working without rest since the battle. The Vrexian way was to push through pain and fatigue. Warriors did not complain. The airlock opened into a massive space that made Zixtar stop in surprise. The docking bay was enormous. His ship looked small inside it. But what surprised him more was the activity. Dozens of humans moved around in organized chaos. Some wore heavy work suits and floated on small jetpacks near his ship's damaged sections. Others operated machinery that extended scanning equipment. Everyone seemed to be talking at once, shouting information back and forth. Maria Chen stood near a large display screen that showed a three-dimensional image of his ship. She was talking with 3 other humans, pointing at different damaged areas. When she saw Zixtar, she walked over immediately. "Commander, welcome aboard." She did not salute or bow. Humans apparently did not stand on ceremony much. "We're running full scans now. Should have preliminary data in another hour. Can I offer you and your crew anything? Food? Medical attention for your injured?" "We need nothing," Zixtar said stiffly. "Just repair our ship." Maria looked at him for a moment. Something in her expression said she understood more than he wanted her to. "All right. But the offer stands. We have a crew lounge on deck 3. Coffee's always fresh." She turned back to her work. "Oh, and Commander? Your ship's name translates to Talon of Dominance, right?" "Yes, good name. She's been through hell, but she's got good bones. We'll have her flying proper again soon." Maria said it like she was talking about a living thing, not a machine. Zixtar did not know what to say to that, so he said nothing. He just watched as the humans swarmed over his broken warship and wondered what he had gotten himself into. The first thing Zixtar noticed was the noise. Human repair crews never stopped talking. They shouted information across the dock. They argued about the best way to fix things. They made jokes while cutting through damaged metal. It should have been unprofessional. It should have been inefficient. But somehow the work got done faster than Zixtar had ever seen. He watched from an observation window as a human engineer named Jackson worked on a hull section. The man had been there for 6 hours straight. His shift should have ended 2 hours ago. Another human walked up to him. "Jackson, go home. You've been here since dawn." Jackson did not stop welding. "Almost done with this section. Look at this stress fracture here. It goes deeper than the scan showed. If we don't reinforce it now, it'll crack again under battle conditions. That's not in the work order. I don't care. This ship goes into combat. This crew needs it solid." Jackson finally stopped and lifted his welding mask. His face was covered in sweat. "Would you want your ship held together with minimum effort?" The other human sighed. "No, fine, I'll help. Let's get it done." Zixtar did not understand. The extra work would not earn them extra payment. His contract with the station specified exactly what repairs were needed. Why would they do more than required? It was not logical, but he saw it everywhere. A maintenance crew replaced a power coupling that was old but still working. "It'll fail in a few months," one explained. "Better to replace it now while we're in here." Another group spent hours recalibrating sensors to better specifications than the ship had when it was new. "Because we can," they said simply. On the 3rd day, Zixtar went to the crew lounge Maria had mentioned. He told himself it was just to observe human behavior. Inside, he found several of his own crew already there. They sat at tables with humans, sharing food and talking. A young Vrexian engineer named Keth sat with a human woman who wore medical insignia. "The nightmares are getting worse," Keth was saying quietly. "Every time I close my eyes, I see the hull breach. I see my friend get pulled into space before the emergency shield's activated." The human medic put her hand on the table near Keth's claw, not touching, but close. "That's trauma. It's normal after what you went through. Have you talked to your medical officer? Vrexians do not speak of weakness, and it's not weakness. It's being alive." The medic's voice was gentle. "I served on a military ship before I came here. Saw things I wish I hadn't. Lost people I cared about. It took me 2 years before I could sleep through a night without waking up scared." Keth looked at her with surprise. "You, but humans are so soft? Emotional?" The medic smiled sadly. "Yeah, we are. And you know what? That's okay. Feeling things doesn't make you weak. Pretending you don't feel things until you break, that's what destroys you." Zixtar left the lounge quickly. He did not want to hear more. But the conversation stayed in his mind. That night he accessed the station's files. He told himself it was research. He looked up New Anchorage Station's performance records. What he found confused him more. The station had a 97% client return rate. Ships that got repaired here came back for future repairs even when closer options existed. Customer satisfaction scores were the highest in the entire sector. He dug deeper. He found reviews from other species. A Zelthari merchant captain wrote, "They fixed things I didn't even know were broken. My crew is happier because the water reclamation system actually makes the water taste good now." I asked why they bothered. The human engineer said no crew should have to drink bad water for months at a time. A Corthian freighter owner wrote, "My ship is old. Most repair docs tell me to scrap it. The humans at New Anchorage treated it like it was precious. They found parts that haven't been manufactured in decades. They made custom replacements. When I asked why they went to so much trouble for an old ship, they said every ship deserves to fly." Zixtar closed the files. He did not understand humans at all. On day 7, Maria Chen gave him a tour of the work. They walked through access tunnels that let them see inside his ship's damaged sections. Everywhere, humans worked with focus and care. Maria explained every repair in detail. She showed him reinforcements they had added. She pointed out systems they had upgraded at no extra cost. "Why?" Zixtar finally asked. "Why do more than the contract requires?" Maria stopped walking. She looked at him with those steady brown eyes. "Because this isn't just a ship to us, Commander. This is your home, your crew's home. You live here. You fight here. Some of you will probably die here eventually." She put her hand on a repaired bulkhead. "When we send you back out there, we want to know we did everything possible to keep you safe. It's not about the contract. It's about doing the job right." "That is not efficient," Zixtar said. "No, but it's effective." Maria smiled. "Our return rate is 97%. You know what the galactic average is? 40%. Most species fix a ship just enough to get it flying, then hope it doesn't come back with the same problem. We fix it properly, so ships don't die from shoddy repairs. Crews don't die because someone cut corners." She started walking again. Zixtar followed. "You know what the other stations call us?" Maria continued. "They say we're too emotional, too involved. They say we care too much about machines. But ships aren't just machines. They carry lives, dreams, futures. Every ship has a story. Yours is a warship that protects your people. That matters." They reached the engine room. Zixtar's engineers worked alongside humans, and he noticed something strange. They were laughing together, sharing techniques. His chief engineer was showing a human a Vrexian method for calibrating plasma injectors. The human was showing his engineer a human trick for balancing power flow. "Your chief engineer is brilliant," Maria said. "She's taught my people 3 things this week we didn't know. That's why we do this too. Every ship that comes here teaches us something new. Every species has knowledge to share. You make us better at our jobs." Zixtar watched his crew work peacefully beside humans. He thought about Keith talking openly about trauma. He thought about Jackson working extra hours to make sure a repair was perfect. He thought about engineers who cared if water tasted good. Maybe humans were not soft. Maybe they were something else entirely. Something the galaxy had not seen before. Something that might actually be stronger than warriors who refused to feel anything at all. The alarm woke Zixtar from shallow sleep. He had been resting in temporary quarters on the station while his ship's life support systems were being rebuilt. The sound was not a battle alarm. It was different, urgent but not aggressive, a distress signal. He reached the command center of the station in minutes. Maria Chen was already there, still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. She probably had not slept. Her crew gathered around displays showing a massive ship drifting in space. "What is happening?" Zixtar demanded. Maria glanced at him. "Colony ship. Sith species. Complete engine failure. They're drifting toward the Kestor radiation belt. If they reach it, everyone on board dies." Zixtar felt his spines go rigid. The Sith. His people had fought 3 wars against them. Old hatreds ran deep between Vrexians and Sith. "How many are on the ship?" 40,000. Mostly civilians. Families heading to a new colony world. Maria's fingers flew across her controls. "They're 6 hours from the radiation belt. Maybe less." "That is unfortunate," Zixtar said carefully. "But surely another Sith vessel will respond to their distress call. The nearest Sith ship is 14 hours away. They won't make it in time." Maria pulled up a schematic of the colony ship. "We can reach them in 90 minutes. Zixtar understood what she was not saying. "You wish to help them?" "I wish to save 40,000 lives, yes. They are Sith." Zixtar made sure his words were clear. "Your current resources are allocated to repairing my ship. Our contract guarantees completion in 2 weeks. Diverting resources would delay our repairs." Maria finally looked directly at him. Her eyes were hard. "I'm aware of the contract, Commander. Then you know you cannot help them without breaking your agreement with me." Zixtar felt a strange sensation in his chest. He was giving her an excuse. A logical reason to turn away. Why was he doing that? I can help them and keep our contract. Maria turned to her crew. Listen up. We're splitting resources. Half the crew stays on the Talon of Dominance. Half goes to emergency rescue operations on the Sith colony ship. We maintain our 2-week deadline. That means double shifts. Triple shifts if needed. I need volunteers who are willing to work without sleep. Every human hand in the room went up. Immediately, without hesitation. That is impossible, Zixtar said. You cannot complete my repairs on half resources in the same time. Maria smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone about to do something very difficult. Commander, you've been here a week. You've watched us work. Do you really think we can't do impossible things when lives depend on it? Before Zixtar could answer, she was giving orders. The room exploded into activity. Humans ran to gather equipment. Communication channels opened. Repair shuttles launched toward the drifting colony ship. In less than 20 minutes, half of Maria's crew was gone. Zixtar went back to his ship. The humans remaining there worked like people possessed. They moved faster than he had seen before. They did not stop for breaks. One engineer fell asleep standing up, and his partner caught him, let him rest for 15 minutes, then woke him to continue working. He found Jackson in the engine room at hour 36. The man's eyes were red. His hands shook from exhaustion, but he was still calibrating power systems with perfect precision. You should rest, Zixtar said. Jackson laughed. It sounded slightly crazy. Can't, people are dying out there. Maria's crew is buying them time, but if we don't finish our work on schedule, it means nothing. She'll have failed her word to you. Can't let that happen. Why do you care? They are Sith, you have no alliance with them. Jackson stopped working. He looked at Zixtar like the Vrexian had said something incomprehensible. They're people, families, kids, that's all that matters. Your species fought a war against the Sith 20 years ago. I know. My father died in that war. Jackson turned back to his work. But those 40,000 civilians didn't kill him. They're just people trying to get to a new home. Maybe raise children, grow gardens, live their lives. I can't help my father, but I can help them. So I will. Zixtar left the engine room feeling strange. He went to the observation window and watched the distant colony ship. Human shuttles swarmed around it like tiny lights. He accessed the communication channel and heard Maria's voice directing operations. Team 3, I need that power conduit bypassed in the next hour. Team 7, how's the reactor stabilization coming? Good, keep it up. Remember, we're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for good enough to get them out of the radiation belt. We can do proper repairs after they're safe. Hour 48. No human had slept more than 20 minutes. Zixtar watched them operate on pure determination and something he could not name. His own crew watched too. Some of them started helping without being asked. A Vrexian electronics specialist joined a human team repairing his ship's communication array. It goes faster with more hands, she said simply. Hour 60. The colony ship's engines flickered to life. Emergency power only, but enough. The massive vessel began to turn, slowly pulling away from the radiation belt's edge. On the station, humans cheered. Some cried. Then they went back to work. Hour 72. Maria came back to the station. She looked like death. Her clothes were stained with coolant and grease. Her eyes were hollow from exhaustion, but she went straight to the command center to check on his ship's repair status. We're on schedule, her second-in-command reported. Talon of Dominance will be ready in 7 days as promised. Maria nodded. Then she collapsed, just fell over like someone had cut her strings. Medical staff rushed to her. They carried her to the medical bay. Zixtar followed. The doctor looked annoyed. She hasn't slept in 72 hours. Hasn't eaten properly either. She's just exhausted. Needs rest and fluids. She'll be fine. The doctor glared at Maria's unconscious form like he was angry at her for being human. Zixtar stood there looking at this small human woman who had worked herself unconscious to save people she did not know. People her species had no reason to help. People who were enemies of his species. And she had done it while still keeping her promise to him. While still making sure his ship would be ready on time. In that moment, Zixtar understood something fundamental about humans. Their weakness was not weakness at all. Their caring was not soft. It was the hardest thing he had ever seen. It was steel wrapped in flesh. It was strength that other species could not even recognize because it looked nothing like the strength they knew. The Sith colony ship sent a message. It was addressed to Maria Chen, but she was asleep, so Zixtar read it. Thank you. You saved our children. We have no words big enough for that debt. If you ever need anything, we will answer. The Sith do not forget. Zixtar looked at the message for a long time. Then he went back to his ship and found his chief engineer. Kara, he said quietly, when we return to the fleet, we will tell them about this place. We will tell them what humans did. All of it. Kara looked at him with surprise. Commander, they saved our enemies, while keeping their promise to us, while working themselves to death. Zixtar felt something he rarely felt. Respect. The galaxy should know what humans are capable of, not just their technology. Their hearts, his engineer nodded slowly. Yes, Commander. The galaxy should know. 6 months passed. Maria Chen stood in her office looking at a waiting list that had grown impossibly long. 23 ships waited for dock space. 15 more had sent requests for future repairs. 3 governments wanted to negotiate contracts. Her communication system never stopped blinking with new messages. This is getting ridiculous, her second-in-command said. He dropped another stack of requests on her desk. A Diluvian freighter just offered double payment if we can squeeze them in next month. A Korthian military vessel wants to bypass closer repair stations to come here. We're booked solid for the next 4 months. Maria rubbed her tired eyes. What happened? We were busy before, but this is crazy. You saved 40,000 Sith civilians. That's what happened. He pulled up news reports on her screen. The story went everywhere. Sith media, Vrexian media, even species that don't talk to each other heard about it. There are documentaries being made about New Anchorage Station. Maria scrolled through the reports. She found an interview with a Sith mother who had been on that colony ship. The woman held her child and cried while talking about the human repair crews who worked without sleep. Another article discussed the Vrexian commander who spread the story throughout his military fleet. Commander Zixtar has been busy, Maria muttered. She found a quote from him in a Vrexian military journal. Human repair docks do not simply fix vessels. They care for them as if each ship carries their own families. This is not weakness. This is strength we must learn to value. Her communication system blinked again. Incoming call from a Zelthari merchant captain. Maria accepted it. A 4-eyed alien face appeared on the screen. Supervisor Chen? I am Captain Dreth of the merchant vessel Golden Wind. I wish to schedule repairs at your facility. We're pretty booked up right now, Captain. I can fit you in about 3 months from now. I will wait. Captain Dreth made a gesture Maria had learned meant agreement. I have heard what you did for the Sith. I have also heard about the quality of your work. There is a closer repair station, and it is cheaper. But I want human repairs. Can I ask why? The captain's eyes blinked in sequence. 2 reasons. First, I have heard your crews actually care if the ship is fixed properly. The last station I used, my water reclamation system barely worked. They said it met minimum standards, but my crew had to drink water that tasted like metal and chemicals for 3 months. I complained. They said it was not their problem. Maria made a note. And the second reason? My ship is old. 23 years I have flown the Golden Wind. She is not fast. She is not beautiful. But she is mine. Other stations tell me to scrap her and buy new. They say repairs are not worth the cost. Captain Dreth's voice became softer. But she is my home. I raised my children on this ship. My mate died on this ship. I do not want a new one. I want this one to keep flying. I heard that humans understand this. Maria felt her throat tighten. We do, Captain. Send me your ship's specifications. We'll take good care of her. After the call ended, Maria sat quietly for a moment. Then she went down to the repair docks. She needed to see her crews. In Dock 3, a team worked on a small Pelthian science vessel. The ship was ancient by modern standards. Its owner was a researcher who could not afford a new ship. Maria's crew was carefully replacing systems one at a time, using refurbished parts when new ones were too expensive. Jackson was there, of course. He never seemed to sleep. He was teaching a new engineer how to calibrate sensors properly. It's not just about making them work, Jackson explained. It's about making them work well. This scientist needs accurate readings for his research. If we do sloppy work, his data will be wrong. Maybe his research fails. Maybe something important doesn't get discovered. So we do it right. The new engineer looked confused. But the contract only specifies basic calibration. Jackson smiled. Kid, the contract is the minimum we're allowed to do. The job is what needs to be done. Learn the difference. Maria moved on to Dock 5. A Vrexian warship was being repaired there. Not the Talon of Dominance, but a different vessel from the same fleet. The Vrexian crew worked alongside Maria's humans, and she could see the difference from 6 months ago. The Vrexians no longer stood apart. They shared meals with the humans. They traded stories. One young Vrexian was learning to play a human card game during a break. The ship's commander saw Maria and approached. "Supervisor Chen, I wanted to thank you personally. Commander Zixtar recommended your facility. He said you would treat my ship with proper respect." "We treat all ships with respect, Commander." "Yes. I am beginning to understand what that means." The Vrexian gestured toward his ship. "In our culture, we view ships as tools, weapons, resources to be used. But watching your crews work, I see something different. You act as if the ships are alive." "In a way they are," Maria said. "They carry life. They protect life. They make life possible in the vacuum of space. That makes them important beyond their metal and systems." The commander was quiet for a moment. "We Vrexians pride ourselves on strength, on discipline, on being warriors. But I think perhaps we have missed something important. Caring for things is also a kind of strength, maybe a harder kind." Maria did not know what to say to that, so she just nodded. Later, she met with a Galactic Concordat inspector who was reviewing the station's safety and quality standards. The inspector was a Thalian, a species known for being logical and precise. "Your procedures are highly irregular," the inspector said, looking at reports. "Your crews frequently exceed contract specifications. They work voluntary overtime. They make modifications not requested by clients. By standard efficiency metrics, you are wasting resources." "And yet," Maria prompted, "and yet your post-repair failure rate is 1/10 the galactic average. Ships repaired here last longer between maintenance. Customer satisfaction is the highest on record. Client return rate is unprecedented." The inspector's antennae twitched with confusion. "I do not understand how inefficient procedures produce superior results," Maria smiled. "Because we're not inefficient. We're thorough. There's a difference. When you care about the outcome, you don't cut corners. When you see ships as homes instead of objects, you make sure they're safe. That is not logical. No, it's emotional. And emotion, Inspector, can be very practical." Maria pulled up statistics. "Look at these numbers. Our clients recommend us to others. They pay premium prices. They wait months for openings. We have more business than we can handle. All because we care. That's not inefficient. That's smart." The inspector studied the data for a long time. Finally, the antennae settled into a position Maria had learned meant acceptance. Perhaps there is something to be learned from human methods after all. That evening, Maria stood at the observation window in her office. She watched ships come and go. Human shuttles moved between vessels like busy insects. In every dock, crews worked with focus and care. Engineers laughed together. Aliens and humans shared meals during breaks. Someone had hung up decorations in Dock 7 for a cultural holiday Maria did not recognize. It looked like home. Her communication system blinked. Another request for repairs. She smiled and accepted it. More work, more ships, more lives to protect. This was what humans did. They cared. They worked hard. They treated machines like they mattered because the people inside them mattered. It was not the strongest military in the galaxy. It was not the best technology. It was just caring. But maybe, Maria thought, caring was its own kind of power. The kind that changed things slowly but permanently. The kind that built trust instead of fear. The kind that made the galaxy a little bit better, one repaired ship at a time. The Galactic Concordat delegation arrived on a Tuesday morning. Maria Chen watched their official transport dock with more nervousness than she wanted to admit. The Concordat sent representatives only for important matters, usually matters of war, trade agreements, or major disputes. She could not imagine what they wanted with a repair station. Ambassador Tvex was tall, even for a Quillian. Her scales shimmered blue and silver. Her 3 eyes missed nothing as she walked through the docking bay. 2 assistants and 4 guards accompanied her. Maria met them in her best uniform, the one she saved for important clients. Ambassador Tvex, welcome to New Anchorage Station. Supervisor Chen. The ambassador's voice had a musical quality. Thank you for agreeing to this visit. The Concordat has become very interested in your operation here. We're just a repair station, Ambassador. Just a repair station that has changed shipping patterns across 3 sectors. Just a repair station that receives recommendations from species that rarely agree on anything. Just a repair station that somehow achieves results that our best analysts cannot explain. Tvex's center eye focused on Maria with uncomfortable intensity. We want to understand why. Maria gave them the tour. She showed them the docks, the repair bays, the supply warehouses. She explained their procedures, their training programs, their quality control systems. The ambassador listened politely and asked precise questions. But Maria could tell none of this was what Tvex really wanted to know. They stopped at Dock 9, where an old Korthian freighter was being repaired. The ship was ancient, held together by patches and prayers. A team of 5 humans worked on its engine core with intense concentration. This vessel is 47 years old, Tvex observed. It would be more cost-effective to scrap it. Probably, Maria agreed. But it belongs to Captain Jexley. He's owned it for 23 years. He's saving money for his daughter's education. This ship is how he earns that money. I see. And you believe this justifies the extensive repairs? Maria looked at the ambassador. Do you have children, ambassador? Tvex's scales rippled with surprise. I have 3 offspring. Would you do anything to give them a better future? Of course. Then you understand Captain Jexley. This ship isn't just metal and systems to him. It's his daughter's future. Every repair we do protects that future. So yes, it justifies extensive repairs. Tvex was quiet for a long moment. You speak of the ship as if it has meaning beyond its function. Because it does. Every ship has meaning. Every ship carries dreams. Maria gestured around the bay. That medical transport in Dock 4? It delivers medicine to remote colonies. Those medicines save lives. That science vessel in Dock 2? It's mapping new star systems, expanding knowledge. That warship in Dock 7? It protects its people from threats. Every single ship here matters to someone. Matters deeply. We don't see tools. We see stories. They continued the tour. Tvex watched the crew's work. She observed humans laughing together during breaks. She saw aliens and humans sharing meals. She noticed the memorial wall in the main corridor, where ships that had been lost were remembered with names and dates. You have a memorial for ships? Tvex asked. Maria stopped in front of the wall. These are ships we couldn't save. Ships that came here too damaged, or that were destroyed after they left. We remember them because they mattered. Because the people on them mattered. Tvex read the name slowly. This one. The Wandering Star. I remember this incident. Pirates. Everyone aboard was killed. The ship came here for repairs 3 times, Maria said quietly. Captain Drelthos. Good man, funny. His crew were like family. When we heard what happened, we mourned. We put their ship on this wall so we don't forget. You grieve for clients? We grieve for people, yes. Maria touched one of the names gently. They trusted us to keep them safe. We did our best. Sometimes our best isn't enough. But we remember. We learn, we get better. So maybe next time we can save someone. Tvex stood silently for a long time. Then she asked the question Maria had been waiting for. What is your secret, Supervisor Chen? The Concordat has studied your methods. Your technology is not superior. Your facilities are adequate but not exceptional. Your procedures are actually less efficient than standard protocols. Yet your results are unprecedented. What do you do that others do not? Maria considered her answer carefully. Come with me, Ambassador. I want you to meet someone. She led Tvex to the maintenance level away from the main docks. In a small workshop, an old man worked at a welding bench. His hair was white. His hands were scarred from decades of work. His movements were slow but precise. This is Marcus, Maria said. He's 70 years old. He's been working on ships for 52 years. He could have retired 15 years ago. He stays because, in his words, the ships need him. Marcus looked up and nodded at them. Ma'am, Ambassador. He went back to welding a small component with intense concentration. Marcus is not the fastest worker, Maria continued. He's not the strongest, but every ship he touches flies safer. Every repair he makes lasts longer. Because he cares. Every single ship, every single repair matters to him personally. That is not efficiency, Tvex said. No, it's excellence. Maria walked to a window that looked out over the docks. You want to know our secret, Ambassador? It's simple. Every species in the galaxy sees ships as tools, as resources, as assets to be maintained and replaced. Humans see them differently. We see homes. We see dreams. We see the people inside them trying to live their lives. Maria pointed to a merchant vessel being repaired. That's the Silver Dawn. Captain Threx is a trader. He's transporting medical supplies to a colony that needs them. If we do shoddy work, those supplies might not arrive. People might die. So we don't do shoddy work. Not because the contract demands it. Because people need those supplies. She pointed to another ship. That's the Morning Light family ship. Parents and 3 kids. They're colonists heading to a new world. If our repairs fail, those children might die in space. So we check everything twice. We make sure it's perfect. Because those kids deserve to reach their new home. You make it personal, Tivek said slowly. We make it human. Maria turned to face the ambassador. Other species are logical, efficient, practical. Those are good things. But humans, we care. Sometimes too much. Sometimes inefficiently. But that caring drives us to excellence that pure logic never reaches. When you care about something, you don't accept good enough. You demand better. You work harder. You check one more time. You stay late. You do extra. Because it matters. Tivex walked to the window and looked out at the busy docks. The Concordat wanted me to understand why ships prefer human repairs. I believe I am beginning to understand. It is not about superior technology or efficiency. It is about relationship, trust, caring. Yes, this is not how most species operate. I know. Maria smiled. Most species think we're too emotional, too involved. They say we anthropomorphize machines. They're right, we do. We give ships personalities. We talk to them. We feel proud when they fly well and sad when they're damaged. It's not logical at all, yet it works. It works because the crews feel it too. When a captain knows we care about their ship as much as they do, they trust us. When an engineer sees us go beyond the contract, they remember. When a family watches us work all night to fix their home, they tell others. Trust builds reputation. Reputation builds business. Caring builds everything else. Tivex turned to Maria. Her 3 eyes studied the human with what might have been respect. The Concordat will file a report about human repair facilities. I will recommend that our member species consider your methods. But I suspect many will not understand. Caring is not a resource they know how to value. That's okay, Maria said. We're not doing this to change the galaxy. We're doing it because it's right. Because ships deserve good repairs. Because crews deserve safe vessels. Because dreams deserve protection. If others learn from that, great. If not, we'll keep doing it anyway. A communication alert chirped. Maria checked it and laughed softly. Commander Zixtar is requesting dock space. Battle damage again. He says he'll wait however long it takes because, and I quote, no other station understands what the talent of dominance means to her crew. You have converted a Vrexian warrior to your philosophy, Tivex observed. That alone is remarkable. We didn't convert him. We just showed him that caring isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest thing you can do. Maria started walking back to her office. Now if you'll excuse me, Ambassador, I need to find dock space for a very stubborn Vrexian commander and his ship. Tivex watched Maria walk away. Then she looked out at the docks again, at the humans and aliens working together, at the ships being repaired with care and precision, at the organized chaos that somehow produced excellence. She finally understood. Humanity's power was not in their weapons or technology or military might. It was in their ability to care deeply about things others dismissed as unimportant, to see meaning where others saw only function, to build relationships where others saw only transactions. It was not the strongest power in the galaxy. It was not the fastest or most efficient, but it was the kind of power that lasted, the kind that built loyalty across species and cultures, the kind that changed things slowly but permanently. In the end, Tivex thought that might be the most dangerous power of all. Not because it destroyed, but because it made you want to come back, made you trust, made you believe that someone somewhere actually cared if you made it home safely. As she returned to her ship, she heard Maria's voice over the communication system, greeting the arriving Vrexian warship. Welcome back, Talon. Let's get you home safe. Tivex smiled. Humans were going to change the galaxy. Not with weapons. With something much more powerful. With heart. The oceans of Nidos once teemed with life. Crystal blue waters stretched across 90% of the planet's surface, home to the Veldari people. With silvery skin that reflected the light of their 3 moons and webbed hands perfect for swimming. Through coral cities, the Veldari lived in harmony with their world for thousands of years. But harmony never lasts forever. Ambassador Lyra swam through the central chamber of the Last Hope communication facility. Her gills fluttered with anxiety as she approached the massive control panel. The room buzzed with the sounds of Veldari technicians working frantically at their stations. Outside the transparent dome ceiling, the once blue sky had taken on an ominous purple hue. "Status report," Lyra said, her voice calm despite the fear gripping her heart. Senior technician Mako looked up from his console, his usually bright eyes now dim with exhaustion. "We've sent the distress signal to all major galactic powers as you instructed, Ambassador. The Krell Empire, the Zenovian Collective, the Mercantile Guild, all of them." "And?" Lyra asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Nothing. The Krell sent an automated response denying our request for aid. The Zenovians calculated that helping us would be—" Mako paused, his voice cracking. "Illogical, given our limited technological contributions to the galactic community. And the Guild? They offered to evacuate 500 of our people in exchange for exclusive mining rights to our planet after we're gone." Lyra's webbed fingers clenched into fists. 500 out of millions. A collection sample. Nothing. More Elder Zoran. His scales, faded with age, floated into the chamber. "The council is assembled, Ambassador. They await your recommendation." Lyra nodded and followed him through winding corridors of living coral until they reached the council chamber. 7 elders sat in a circle, their faces grave. "The radiation levels increased by 12% last night," announced Elder Naira, the head scientist. "At this rate, the surface will be uninhabitable in 6 months. Our underwater habitats can sustain perhaps 20% of our population for another year beyond that." "And the responses to our distress calls?" asked the head elder. "Rejected or ignored," Lyra replied. "The established galactic powers see no value in assisting us." Silence filled the chamber. The extinction of their species seemed inevitable. "There is one more option," Lyra said finally. "There are rumors of a young spacefaring race in an outer spiral arm. They call themselves humans." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "Humans," Elder Zoran scoffed. "The primitives who've barely reached their own moon. What could they possibly do to help us?" "The same rumors that speak of their primitive technology also tell of their unpredictable nature," Lyra countered. "They act against their own self-interest at times, driven by something the older races lack." "Foolishness, you mean," Zoran said. "Hope," Lyra corrected. "And right now, hope is all we have left." After hours of debate, the council voted 5-2 to send a final distress call aimed at the distant planet Earth. Even the optimists among them considered it a gesture of desperation rather than a real solution. Lyra personally encoded the message, translating their plea into mathematical sequences that any scientifically advanced species should recognize as intelligent communication. As the signal beamed into space, she whispered a prayer to the ocean depths that had nurtured her people since the beginning of their history. The night shift at Arecibo Observatory was usually quiet. Dr. Alan Pierce liked it that way. The vast radio telescope in Puerto Rico was his favorite place to work. Just him, the stars, and the gentle hum of equipment. Tonight, however, the quiet was broken by an unusual pattern in the data. Alan adjusted his glasses and leaned closer to his monitor. The signal repeated in perfect intervals, too regular to be natural. He reached for his phone and called his colleague. "Kate, it's Alan. I need you to look at something." Dr. Kate Morgan arrived 30 minutes later, her curly hair disheveled and a coffee stain on her NASA t-shirt. "This better be good, Alan. It's 2 a.m. Look at this pattern." Alan pointed to his screen. "It's repeating every 107 seconds. I've checked for satellite interference, pulsar signals, everything." Kate's eyes widened as she studied the data. "That's not random noise." She grabbed a chair and sat beside him. "Can you isolate the frequency?" For the next 3 hours they worked together, isolating and analyzing the signal. By dawn they had confirmed it wasn't coming from Earth or any known human spacecraft. "We need to tell Jack," Kate said. Jack Simmons, the observatory director, listened to their explanation with folded arms and a skeptical expression. "So you're telling me you've discovered aliens?" We're telling you we've discovered a non-random signal from deep space that appears to contain mathematical sequences, Alan clarified. It repeats with increasing intensity, almost like someone's trying to get our attention, Kate finished. Jack sighed. Run it through every verification protocol we have. If it's still unexplained by this afternoon, I'll contact NASA headquarters. The signal not only passed every test, but revealed more complex patterns when analyzed with additional algorithms. Within days, other radio telescopes around the world confirmed the finding. 1 month later, scientists from 12 countries gathered at a United Nations emergency session in New York. The signal contains what we believe to be coordinates, a timeline, and biological information, explained Dr. Eliza Washington, NASA's lead xenolinguistics expert. We're still deciphering much of it, but one thing is clear. This is a distress call. The room erupted in debate. Some nations advocated immediate response, while others warned of potential traps or contamination risks. Even if it is genuine, said the Russian delegate, what exactly are we supposed to do? We barely have the technology to reach Mars. Dr. Sam Winters, a physicist from MIT, stepped forward. Actually, that's not entirely true anymore. He displayed schematics for an experimental propulsion system. This drive could potentially reach the coordinates within 8 months. And what if hostile forces await us there? Asked the Chinese. Representative Alan Pierce, invited as a consultant, stood up. The signal pattern shows increasing degradation. Whatever is happening at the source, they're running out of time. If we're going to help, we need to decide now. After 3 days of debate, the vote came down to a narrow margin. Humanity would respond. As Kate and Alan helped craft Earth's response message, she paused and looked at him. Do you really think we can help them? Whoever they are? Alan looked up at the night sky visible through the window. I don't know, but we have to try, don't we? That's what makes us human. Across the vast emptiness of space on a dying ocean world, Ambassador Lyra received the response from Earth. Her translator converted the mathematical sequences into Veldari language, and for the first time in months, she felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope. The United Nations building buzzed with activity. Representatives from every country filled the main chamber. Giant screens displayed images of Earth's newest ship, the USS Horizon. Its sleek design gleamed under the lights of the launch facility in Florida. This vessel represents the combined efforts of 17 nations, said Secretary General Paula Reed. Equipped with Dr. Winter's experimental drive system, it gives us our best chance to reach the Veldari in time. The room filled with applause. Not everyone supported the mission, but today was about unity and hope. Captain Daniel Clark stood straight in his dark blue uniform. At 42, with short brown hair and serious eyes, he had the perfect blend of experience and physical fitness for this journey. As the applause died down, he stepped forward to the microphone. On behalf of the crew of the USS Horizon, I thank you for your trust. We don't know what awaits us among the stars, but we carry with us the best of humanity, our compassion, our curiosity, and our determination to help those in need. After the ceremony, Captain Clark met with his core crew in a private room. Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez, a brilliant xenobiologist with keen eyes and a quick smile. Chief Engineer Ben Foster, whose hands could fix anything mechanical. Communications Officer Lisa Wong, who had helped decode the Veldari message. Medical Officer Dr. Greg Pearson, whose calm presence reassured everyone. Questions before we launch. Tomorrow? Clark asked. Sir, said Lieutenant Rodriguez, what if we get there and can't help them? Their biology is completely different from anything on Earth. Clark nodded. That's why we're bringing you, Lieutenant. Learn everything you can. During our journey, the Veldari have shared some biological data in their messages. And if we encounter these Krell or other hostile aliens? Asked Foster. We're not a warship, Clark replied firmly. Our mission is humanitarian, but we have defensive capabilities, if needed. Lisa Wong spoke up. The latest transmission suggests their situation is worsening faster than expected. Radiation levels are climbing daily. Then we'll need to push our new drive to its limits, Clark said. Dr. Winters assures me it can handle it. They talked for another hour, discussing details and contingencies. As they prepared to leave, Clark added, "Get some sleep. Tomorrow we make history." On Nidos, life grew harder each day. The Veldari moved their main population centers underwater, converting ancient coral structures into living quarters. Food became scarce as radiation poisoned the surface waters. Ambassador Lyra swam through a crowded shelter that once served as a historical museum. Families huddled together in small spaces. Children with dull scales and tired eyes looked up as she passed. "Ambassador," called a voice. Elder Zoran approached, moving slowly through the water. "The council requests your presence." In the underwater council chamber, Lyra found not just the elders but also Mako and several other technicians. "We've received troubling news," said Head Elder Nyara. "Our deep space monitoring stations have detected a Krell warship changing course toward our system." Lyra's gills fluttered in alarm. "When did this happen?" "Shortly after the humans sent their response," Mako explained. "The Krell must have intercepted it. Or they were watching us all along," Zoran suggested darkly, "waiting for us to die so they could claim our world." Lyra processed this information. "What about the humans?" "Still coming as far as we know," said Mako. "But the Krell will arrive before them." "We should contact the humans, warn them," Lyra insisted. Elder Zoran shook his head. "And risk the Krell intercepting that message too? Besides, what could these primitive humans do against a Krell warship?" "We can't just abandon hope," Lyra argued. "Hope won't save our people," Zoran countered. He turned to the other elders. "I've been in secret contact with the Mercantile Guild. They've improved their offer. They'll take 2,000 of our people now." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Lyra couldn't believe what she was hearing. "You negotiated behind the council's back?" Head Elder Nyara demanded. "I did what was necessary," Zoran replied without shame. "The guild ships can arrive within a month. We select our brightest minds, our youngest children, and preserve something of our civilization." "And abandon millions to die?" Lyra asked, her voice rising. "Better 2,000 survive than none," Zoran said firmly. The debate raged for hours. In the end, the council remained divided. No decision would be made until all members could vote the next day. As Lyra left the chamber, Mako swam quickly to catch up with her. "Ambassador, there's something else," he said quietly. "The guild's offer comes with conditions they didn't mention to Elder Zoran." "What conditions?" "They want our genetic library and historical archives, and they want exclusive mining rights. To Nidos after we're gone." Lyra's suspicions deepened. "They're not saving us out of kindness. They're harvesting us just like the Krell." "What should we do?" Mako asked. Lyra's eyes hardened with determination. "Prepare a secure message to the humans. They deserve to know what they're swimming into." Aboard the USS Horizon, 2 weeks into their journey, Captain Clark floated in the zero-gravity exercise chamber. The experimental drive had performed beyond expectations so far. At this rate, they might reach Nidos months earlier than planned. Dr. Winters entered the chamber, his thin frame even more weightless in zero-G. "Captain, we've received a new transmission from Nidos. It's encrypted differently than their previous messages." In the communications center, Lisa Wong worked to decode the message while the senior crew watched. "It's addressed specifically to us, not a general distress call," she explained as she typed. "They're using some of the encryption principles we sent in our response." The message finally appeared on screen. Clark read it silently, his expression growing more serious with each line. "The Krell are heading to Nidos," he announced to his crew. "They've detected our response and accelerated their timetable." "What timetable?" Dr. Pearson asked. "According to this, the radiation affecting Nidos isn't natural. The Krell have been waiting for the Veldari to die off so they can mine rare minerals from the ocean floor." The crew exchanged troubled looks. "There's more," Clark continued. "Some of the Veldari leadership are negotiating with another group called the Mercantile Guild, who are offering to evacuate a small number in exchange for resources. So what do we do? Foster asked. We're not equipped to fight a Krell warship. Clark considered their options. First, we send an encrypted update to Earth. They need to know the situation has changed. Second, we continue our mission but accelerate to maximum safe speed. And if we encounter the Krell? Rodriguez pressed. Clark's jaw set firmly. We came to help the Veldari, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Humanity made a promise. We keep our promises. The stars streaked by outside the windows of the USS Horizon. Captain Clark sat in his chair on the bridge, watching the main screen as it displayed their progress through space. They had been traveling for 6 weeks now, and the experimental drive continued to exceed expectations. Status report, Clark said, looking around at his crew. Drive systems operating at 115% of projected capacity, Chief Engineer Foster reported with pride. Dr. Winter's calculations were conservative. We're now estimated to arrive at Knidos in 3 months rather than 8. Any sign of the Krell vessel on long-range scanners? Clark asked. Lieutenant Rodriguez shook her head. Nothing yet, Captain. But our scanning range is limited compared to their technology. Communications Officer Wong raised her hand. Captain, I'm picking up an unusual transmission. It's not from Knidos or Earth. Can you identify the source? Working on it, Wong replied, her fingers moving quickly over her console. The language pattern doesn't match anything in our database. Dr. Winters moved to her station, examining the signal patterns. This communication method is far more advanced than ours or the Veldari. Based on what we know of galactic civilizations, this could be from the Zenovian collective. Clark straightened in his chair. Put it on screen if you can decode it. After several minutes of work, a message appeared. It was text only, translated into basic English. Greetings, human vessel. We are representatives of the Zenovian collective. We have observed your response to the Veldari distress call with great interest. Request permission to establish direct communication. The bridge fell silent. This was the first contact with an advanced alien civilization other than the Veldari. Should we respond, Captain? Wong asked. Clark thought carefully. The Zenovians ignored the Veldari when they asked for help. Now they're suddenly interested when we get involved. He nodded. Send a reply. Tell them we're on a humanitarian mission and are open to communication but will not be deterred from our primary objective. While they waited for a response, Dr. Pearson approached the captain's chair. Sir, I've been studying the Veldari biological data. The radiation affecting their planet targets their specific genetic structure. It's almost as if it was designed to harm them specifically. Clark frowned. You think this was deliberate? It's too precise to be natural, Pearson said. Someone wanted the Veldari gone, but the planet left intact. Before Clark could respond, Wong announced, Captain, we're receiving a visual transmission. Request from the Zenovians. On screen, Clark ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, slender being with pale blue skin and large, multifaceted eyes. It had no visible mouth, but words appeared as text below its image. I am Observer Tsel of the Zenovian Collective. Your species is unknown to us. Your intervention in the Knidos situation is unexpected. Clark stood up. I am Captain Daniel Clark, of the United Earth vessel Horizon. We received a distress call and are responding to render aid. The Veldari situation was calculated to be terminal, the Zenovian replied. Your probability of success is less than 8%. Logic would dictate non-intervention. Humans sometimes defy the odds, Clark said simply. The Zenovian's eyes shifted slightly. We have detected a Krell warship approaching Knidos. They will arrive before you. The Krell do not share your humanitarian interests. We're aware of the Krell presence, Clark replied cautiously. Why are you contacting us now, when you ignored the Veldari pleas for help? Your species presents an unknown variable. The Krell response to your intervention has altered projected outcomes. We now calculate a 23% probability that the situation on Knidos will affect wider galactic stability, Rodriguez whispered to Clark. They're only interested because we upset their predictions. Clark nodded slightly. Observer Cell, what is your interest in this situation? We propose an exchange of information. Cell replied. We can provide data about Krell capabilities and weaknesses. In return, we request permission to observe your mission and study human decision-making processes. The captain considered this offer. We'll discuss your proposal and respond shortly. Horizon out. After ending the transmission, Clark called his senior crew to the conference room. Opinions? He asked when they were all seated. We can't trust them, Foster said immediately. They didn't care about the Veldari until we showed up. But their information about the Krell could be valuable, Rodriguez countered. We're flying blind right now. Dr. Winters leaned forward. The Zenovians are known for their analytical approach. They don't act unless they see a benefit to themselves. What benefit could they get from helping us? Dr. Pearson wondered. Us, Wong said quietly. They want to study us. We're new to them. Clark nodded. I agree. We're a science experiment, to them. But that doesn't mean we can't use their help. He made his decision. We'll accept their information but limit their access to our systems and crew. Wong, draft a response. On Nidos, the situation had grown desperate. The last surface city was being evacuated as radiation levels reached lethal thresholds. Lyra helped guide families into the underwater shelters, which were already overcrowded. Ambassador, called Mako, swimming quickly toward her. The council, vote is complete. Lyra's heart sank when she saw his expression. They accepted Zoran's deal with the Guild, 5-4 in favor, Mako confirmed. The Guild ships will arrive in 2 weeks to begin evacuation of the selected 2,000. And the selection process? Already begun. Priority given to scientists, artists, and children under 10 cycles. Elder Zoran is heading the selection committee. Lyra clenched her webbed hands. This is wrong. We can't abandon millions to save a chosen few. What choice do we have? Mako asked, his voice heavy with defeat. The humans won't arrive in time, and even if they do, what can one ship accomplish against the Krell? Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. We need to trust them. They answered when no one else would. Later that night, Lyra snuck into the communication center. She needed to warn the humans about the Guild ships coming and the Council's decision. As she prepared to send a message, the alert system suddenly blared. A technician rushed in. Ambassador, we're detecting a large vessel entering our system. It's Krell. Lyra's gills fluttered in panic. They're early. How is that possible? They must have used their phase drive at full capacity, the technician said. At their current speed, they'll reach Nidos in 3 days. Lyra quickly changed her message to the humans, adding urgent information about the Krell's early arrival. As she finished transmitting, Elder Zoran entered with 2 security guards. Ambassador Lyra, you are relieved of your duties by order of the Council, he announced. All communication with the humans must cease immediately. You can't do this, Lyra protested. The people have a right to know all their options. The decision has been made, Zoran said coldly. The Guild is our only hope now. As the guards moved to escort her away, Lyra looked back at the communication array one last time. Her message had sent. Now all she could do was hope the humans would respond in time. Captain Clark stared at the message from Ambassador Lyra with growing concern. The Krell had arrived at Nidos 3 days ago, much earlier than expected. They now orbited the planet like hungry sharks, waiting for the final collapse of Veldari society. How much longer until we reach Nidos? Clark asked, turning to Dr. Winters. 2 weeks at our current speed, Winters replied. If we push the drive to maximum, maybe 10 days, but that increases the risk of system failure. And the Mercantile Guild ships? Based on Ambassador Lyra's last message, they should arrive in 3 days, Communications Officer Wong reported. Clark paced the bridge, weighing their options. The Veldari leadership has fractured. Ambassador Lyra has been removed from her position. Elder Zoran is proceeding with the evacuation of just 2,000 people, abandoning millions. Captain, Lieutenant Rodriguez spoke up. The Zenovians have sent the information on Krell ships as promised. Clark nodded. Put it on screen. the main display filled with technical specifications of Krell warships. The data was extensive, showing weapons systems, shield capabilities, and known tactical patterns. They're heavily armed, Chief Engineer Foster observed. Their main weapons could tear through our hull in seconds. But look at this, Rodriguez pointed. Their shield systems have a vulnerability when they fire their main cannons, a brief power fluctuation that might be exploitable. Could we use that? Clark asked. Foster scratched his chin. Maybe. If we modified our defensive systems to emit a targeted pulse at exactly the right moment, we might be able to temporarily disable their weapons. Get on it, Clark ordered. And Dr. Winters, push our drive to maximum. The Veldari don't have time to wait. On Nidos, chaos reigned. The selection process for evacuation had turned neighbor against neighbor. Families begged to be included in the chosen 2,000. Guards had been posted at all food distribution centers to prevent riots. Lyra sat in her small holding cell, a bubble of air surrounded by transparent walls. Though no longer an ambassador, many Veldari still looked to her for hope. Guards had strict orders to prevent her from communicating with anyone. The door slid open and Mako entered with a food tray. He glanced at the guard outside, then whispered, "The guild ships will arrive tomorrow. Elder Zoran has finalized the list of evacuees." "And the humans?" Lyra asked quietly. "No word. Our long-range communications have been restricted by the Krell. They've positioned their warship to block any signals from leaving our system." Lyra's heart sank. "What about the Krell? What are they doing?" "Nothing yet. They just watch and wait." Mako looked around nervously. "But I overheard something. The guild negotiators mentioned that once they've taken their selected Veldari, the Krell plan to begin resource extraction immediately, while millions of us are still alive," Lyra said bitterly. Mako nodded grimly. "I have to go before they get suspicious. Stay strong, Ambassador. Some of us still believe in you." After he left, Lyra swam in circles in her small cell. There had to be a way to stop this. The Veldari people deserved better than to be traded like commodities or left to die while aliens mined their world. She noticed something small fall from the food tray Mako had brought, a tiny communication device. Lyra quickly hid it under her sleeping mat. Perhaps not all hope was lost. The USS Horizon pushed through space faster than any human vessel had ever traveled. Warning lights flashed on several consoles. The experimental drive glowed with an eerie blue light as it strained beyond its limits. "Drive temperature rising into the red zone," Foster reported tensely. "We can't maintain this speed for much longer without risking a complete breakdown." "How much farther?" Clark asked. "We'll reach Nidos in 6 hours at this speed," Dr. Winters answered, his eyes fixed on his calculations. "But the drive will fail within 9 hours. We'll be stranded." Clark made his decision. "Maintain current speed. We need to reach Nidos before the guild ships leave with their selected few." "And if we can't return to Earth?" Rodriguez asked what everyone was thinking. "One problem at a time, Lieutenant," Clark replied firmly. "Our mission is to help the Veldari." As they approached the Nidos system, tension on the bridge increased. Wong suddenly straightened at her station. "Captain, I'm detecting a signal. Very weak, but it's using Veldari communication protocols." "Can you clean it up?" Clark asked. Wong worked quickly. "It's from Ambassador Lyra. She's being held prisoner by her own government. The guild ships are already there, loading their selected evacuees. The Krell are preparing to begin mining operations as soon as the guild leaves." "Mining operations? While the planet is still inhabited?" Dr. Pearson asked in horror. "Apparently so," Clark said grimly. "Tactical status? The Krell warship is in high orbit around Nidos," Rodriguez reported. "The guild has 3 transport vessels on the far side of the planet. None have detected us yet." "Good. Foster, is our modified pulse weapon ready?" "Yes, sir, but it's untested. We'll only get 1 shot before they realize what we're doing," Clark nodded. "Then we make it count. Here's the plan. We approach from behind Nidos's largest moon to mask our signature. When we emerge, we target the Krell ship's weapon systems during their power fluctuation. Wong, Be ready to broadcast on all frequencies. I want every Veldari to hear us." The crew moved with purpose, preparing for the most important moment in human space exploration history. As they swung around the large blue moon of Knidos, the beautiful ocean planet came into view, its once clear atmosphere now clouded with purple radiation swirls. "Krell warship detected," Rodriguez announced. "They've spotted us." "Full power to forward shields," Clark ordered. "Take us in." The horizon shot forward toward the much larger Krell vessel. The alien ship began to glow as its weapon systems charged. "They're preparing to fire," Rodriguez warned. "Hold course," Clark said steadily. "Wait for the fluctuation." The Krell ship fired, a bright beam of energy lancing toward them. At that exact moment, Foster activated their pulse weapon. The beam connected with the horizon's shields, causing the ship to shake violently. Consoles sparked and crew members held on to their stations, but the pulse had worked. The Krell weapon flickered and died, its power systems temporarily disrupted. "Broadcast now," Clark ordered. Wong opened all channels. "This is the Earth vessel USS Horizon to all Veldari citizens and vessels in the Knidos system. We have come to offer assistance to all Veldari people, not just a selected few. We have disabled the Krell warship temporarily and request immediate contact with Veldari leadership." On the planet below, millions of Veldari heard the message. In her cell, Lyra smiled. For the first time in weeks, the humans had arrived. Chaos erupted on Knidos as the human message echoed through every communication device. In the council chamber, Elder Zoran faced angry questions from the other elders. The guild representatives hovered nervously near the exit. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded Elder Naira. "You said the humans wouldn't arrive for weeks, if at all." "This changes nothing," Zoran insisted. "The guild evacuation proceeds as planned. The humans have one small ship. They cannot save our entire population." The lead guild negotiator, a tall, thin alien with gray skin, stepped forward. "Our agreement was clear. We take 2,000 Veldari and their genetic archives. In return, we ensure your safe passage before the Krell begin mining operations." "And what of the millions left behind?" asked a younger elder. Before Zoran could answer, the doors burst open. Guards entered, escorting Lyra between them. Behind her came Mako and dozens of ordinary Veldari citizens. "The people demand to be heard," Lyra announced. "The humans have offered to help all of us, not just a privileged few." "How did you escape?" Zoran sputtered. Lyra held up the small communication device. "Not everyone agrees with abandoning our people." She turned to the council. "The humans disabled a Krell warship to reach us. They risked everything to keep their promise." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The guild representatives whispered urgently to each other. Lyra continued, "I propose we contact the humans immediately and accept their offer." "The vote is 7-2 in favor," Elder Nira announced after a quick poll of the council. She turned to Zoran. "You are relieved of your position. Effective immediately." As guards moved to detain him, Zoran backed toward the guild representatives. "You fools. The Krell will recover soon. They'll destroy the human ship and everyone who supports them." "Perhaps," Lyra said calmly, "but we will face our fate together as one people." On the bridge of the USS Horizon, Captain Clark received the incoming transmission from Knidos. "Put it through," he ordered. Ambassador Lyra appeared on screen. "Captain Clark, the Veldari Council accepts your offer of assistance with gratitude. Elder Zoran has been removed from leadership. However, our situation remains dire." "The Krell ship is already restoring power," Rodriguez reported quietly. Clark nodded. "Ambassador, we need to act quickly. We've analyzed your planet's radiation situation. The good news is we believe we can help. The bad news is the Krell will be combat ready again in approximately 20 minutes. "What do you need from us?" Lyra asked. "Dr. Winters and Lieutenant Rodriguez have a plan," Clark explained. "We need to establish a temporary atmospheric shield using our ship's drive system. But to cover the entire planet, we'll need to position 3 transmitter devices at equal points around Knidos. Our people can place them," Lyra confirmed. Dr. Winters took over. The shield will only last about 6 months, but it should reduce radiation levels enough to make surface evacuation possible. 6 months, Lyra repeated. Enough time to evacuate our people properly? With help, yes, Clark promised. We've already contacted Earth. More ships are being prepared. The Guild vessels are attempting to leave orbit, Foster reported suddenly. Clark turned to Wong. Open a channel to those ships. When the connection was established, Clark spoke firmly. This is Captain Daniel Clark of the Earth vessel Horizon. We request that you maintain your current position and assist with Veldari evacuation efforts. The Guild representative appeared on screen, looking nervous. We have a prior arrangement with certain Veldari representatives. This does not concern Earth. It concerns the lives of millions, Clark replied. If you choose to leave now, Earth will remember this decision when establishing future trading relationships. The Guild ships paused their departure. After a brief silence, the representative responded, We will await further discussions. The Krell ship is powering weapons, Rodriguez warned. Deploy the transmitters now, Clark ordered. Ambassador Lyra, your teams need to place them immediately. On Nidos, 3 Veldari teams raced to position the human devices at coordinates provided by the Horizon. Lyra personally led one team, swimming faster than she had in years. The Krell are hailing us, Wong reported. The Krell commander appeared on screen, a massive armored figure with multiple eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Human vessel, the commander growled. You interfere in matters beyond your understanding. This planet and its resources are claimed by the Krell Empire. This planet and its people have asked for our help, Clark replied. We've answered. Your primitive vessel cannot stand against us. Withdraw now or be destroyed. Clark stood firm. We will not abandon the Veldari. The communication cut off abruptly. Seconds later, the Krell ship fired. The Horizon rocked under. The impact? Shields at 60%, Foster called out. Hold position, Clark ordered. We need to give the Veldari teams time. First transmitter in place and activated, Wong reported, monitoring the Veldari teams. The Krell fired again. Panels exploded across the bridge. Crew members were thrown from their stations. Shields at 30%, we can't take another hit like that. Second transmitter in place. The Krell ship moved into position for a killing blow. Just as they prepared to fire, a new vessel appeared in a flash of light. Sleek and crystalline, it positioned itself between the Horizon and the Krell ship. It's a Zenovian vessel, Rodriguez said in amazement. The Zenovian ship absorbed the Krell blast without apparent damage, then responded with a precise beam that disabled the Krell weapon systems completely. Observer Cell appeared on the Horizon's screen. We have calculated that the survival of the Veldari alters future probability matrices in a favorable direction. We will assist. Third transmitter in place, Wong announced triumphantly. Activate the shield now, Clark ordered. Dr. Winters initiated the sequence. The Horizon's drive pulsed with blinding energy. Below, the 3 transmitters activated simultaneously. A blue field began to spread across Nidos's atmosphere, growing until it covered the entire planet. Where it passed, the purple radiation haze dissipated. On the surface of Nidos, Veldari watched in wonder as their sky began to clear for the first time in months. Radiation levels are dropping, Dr. Pearson confirmed, reading the planetary scans. The shield is working. 6 months later, a fleet of Earth vessels orbited Nidos. The evacuation was nearly complete. With the Zenovians' unexpected support and the Guild's reluctant assistance, most Veldari had been relocated to suitable water worlds across 3 star systems. Ambassador Lyra stood with Captain Clark on the Horizon's observation deck, watching shuttles transport the last groups of her people. Your ship will never return to Earth, she said softly. You sacrificed your way home to save us. Clark smiled. Earth is sending a recovery vessel. We'll be home in about a year. Why did you help us? Lyra asked. When the great powers of the galaxy ignored our pleas, why did humans answer? Clark looked out at the stars. Because that's what humans do. We help when we can. Not because it benefits us, not because it's logical, but because it's right. Lyra placed her webbed hand on the glass. The Veldari will never forget. When others turned away, the humans heard our cries for help, and they came.